Think about today. Did an hour just vanish into thin air? You were probably busy, right? But can you honestly say where that hour went? It's gone, swallowed by the day, and that might be precisely why you're still feeling a little stuck, like you're running hard but not quite getting anywhere new. It's a frustrating loop, one that most people, without even realizing it, never manage to break free from. They're caught in the churn, hoping for a different result from the same old patterns. But what if there was a way out, a simple key to unlock a different path? There is. It's a rule, an almost embarrassingly straightforward principle that fundamentally changed everything for me, especially when my own world seemed to be spectacularly falling apart. This isn't some flashy, overhyped trick. It's a foundational method, and the remarkable thing, it doesn't just work sometimes. It works consistently, every single time, if you commit to it. My journey to this realization was paved with some pretty public and painful failures. Imagine watching your rockets, the very symbols of your ambition and countless hours of work, explode live on television. It was a brutal, humbling blow. In the aftermath of that kind of devastation, I had to claw my way back, not just professionally, but personally. The answer, I discovered, wasn't to redouble the frantic effort, but to carve out and fiercely protect one single, sacred hour every day. This wasn't about cramming more into an already overflowing schedule. It was about creating a sanctuary for focused, high-impact work. I'm going to lay out for you exactly how you can build this fortress around your most crucial hour. And if this idea is already sparking something in you, a little nudge of recognition, take a moment to like this and subscribe if you're finding value here. It truly helps me understand what resonates, and honestly, I love hearing from you all. Drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you. It's fascinating to connect. By the end of our time together, you'll understand precisely how to safeguard not just 1 hour, but to make every hour of your day truly count. Now, a lot of people look at what I do, the rockets, the electric cars, the constant stream of ideas, even the memes, and they assume I was just born with some kind of superhuman discipline, like I just wake up and effortlessly program interplanetary missions or design revolutionary vehicles. But that's a highlight reel, not the messy, unglamorous reality of how it all began. When I first arrived in America, I was sleeping on a futon in a shared apartment with practically nothing to my name. I couldn't even afford a second pair of shoes. I was pouring every ounce of my energy into building my first company, Zip2, and my life was a chaotic whirlwind of meetings, frantic coding sessions, an endless barrage of emails, and chronically insufficient sleep, only to repeat it all the next day. I was undeniably busy, a blur of constant motion. But here's the crucial distinction I slowly came to understand. Being busy doesn't mean you're being effective. And that realization, when it finally hit me, was a hard one. I vividly remember one particular night, exhausted, sitting in the office well past midnight, just staring blankly at the computer screen. I had put in a solid 12 hours that day, a marathon of effort. And yet, when I truly assessed it, I hadn't actually solved any significant problems. I was caught in a reactive state, constantly firefighting, rather than proactively building or strategically advancing the mission. I was, in essence, drowning in the shallow, urgent tasks, while the deep, important work remained untouched. That's when a question forced its way into my tired mind. What if I could just secure 1 clean hour each day? Just 60 uninterrupted minutes, dedicated solely to pushing the core mission forward. That simple, almost naive idea, born out of desperation, began to solidify into a rule. And that rule, diligently applied, became the pivotal turning point not just in my work, but in my entire approach to life. The truly strange and wonderful thing was, it worked far better than I could have ever anticipated. And not because I suddenly started working even harder. I was already operating at what felt like my absolute limit. No, it worked because it forced me to start thinking deeper. For the first time, it felt like I could see past the immediate chaos, the daily fog of demands and distractions. It was the first time I could genuinely hear myself think, to connect disparate ideas, to strategize instead of just react. That's when the trajectory of SpaceX began to fundamentally shift. That's when the vision for where Tesla needed to go started to crystallize with undeniable clarity. So, let me ask you this. What's that one significant thing in your own life, that project, that ambition, that change you know you're meant to create, but you keep telling yourself, I'll get to it when I have more time? Just sit with that for a moment. That is precisely what your 1-hour rule is tailor-made for. Because real, meaningful progress doesn't usually spring from those exhausting 12-hour slogs. It begins with one single, fiercely protected hour. An hour you guard as if your life truly depends on it. What I've come to understand is that most people don't fail because they're inherently lazy or incapable. They often fail because they're incredibly busy, but they're busy doing the wrong things for far too long. The 1-hour rule isn't just a discipline hack, it's a strategic imperative. It's about aiming carefully before you fire your precious energy. I've witnessed brilliant engineers burn themselves out, incredibly smart founders drown in the noise of daily operations, and even billion-dollar companies crumble because they were perpetually stuck in urgent mode, constantly neglecting what was truly necessary for long-term survival and growth. And I get it. It feels easier to just answer those emails, to scroll through feeds, to react to whatever pops up. You get that fleeting sense of productivity, that little dopamine hit of ticking something off a list. But deep down, if you're honest, you know that nothing truly important, nothing game-changing, actually moved forward. So, when I began to rigorously implement this 1-hour rule, dedicating that first hour every morning, protected from all incursions, something profound happened. I didn't just do more, I started to think differently. That protected hour became my laboratory, my strategic weapon. In that quiet space, I gained clarity. I confronted the hard, uncomfortable problems I'd been subconsciously avoiding. I made the tough decisions I'd been postponing. I consciously stepped away from the tyranny of the endless to-do list and into the realm of the what really matters list. Some of my most significant breakthroughs, the insights that unlocked enormous progress, were born in those quiet moments of intense, pure thought. No noise, no distractions, just deliberate, focused effort applied to the problem that mattered most. I want you to try this starting tomorrow morning. Regardless of how chaotic your schedule seems, I want you to block off just 1 hour, turn off everything, phone in another room, notifications silenced. Tell anyone who might interrupt that you are unavailable, and then sit with this one powerful question. What is the single problem or opportunity in your life that, if you truly solved or seized it, would change everything else for the better? That, right there, is your mission for that hour. Because here's the incredible twist. You don't necessarily need more hours in your day. You just need more of your hours to actually mean something. For a while, this system worked like a charm. 1 hour a day, no meetings, no noise, just pure focus. Tesla's long-term vision was becoming sharper. SpaceX was tackling and solving complex problems at an accelerated pace, and I felt more focused and in control than I had in years. I thought, this is it. This is the golden key. But then something unexpected happened. One morning, I sat down for my sacred protected hour, ready for a breakthrough, and nothing. My mind was a blank slate, or worse, a whirlwind of racing, unproductive thoughts. No clarity, no brilliant insights, just an empty void where focused energy used to be. I had become so fixated on the doing of the hour, on maintaining the habit, that I had forgotten to continuously ask myself what I was actually aiming at. I realized I'd stumbled into a new kind of trap. I had built the habit, but I'd neglected the direction. It was like constructing a magnificent rocket, powerful engines, impressive fuel capacity, but with no destination coordinates programmed into its guidance system. That's when the next crucial insight hit me. This isn't just about managing time, it's fundamentally about managing attention. Time without clear, focused attention is just noise, it's wasted potential. This was a revelation. So I added a new layer to my process. Before I even began my protected hour, I started asking myself one incredibly potent question. What am I pretending not to know? That single question became a powerful solvent, dissolving every excuse, every subtle lie I was telling myself. That I didn't really know what the core problem was, that I needed more research, that it wasn't the right time to tackle it. All of it was just mental chaff. And once I got brutally honest with myself in answering that question, the hour itself became supercharged, almost nuclear. Ideas flowed, strategies snapped into place, direction became clear, and alignment across my thoughts and actions followed. But then, just as I thought I had it all figured out, I made a classic rookie mistake. I started checking Slack or email or some other communication channel right before the dedicated hour. Just 5 minutes, I'd tell myself, just a quick scan to see if there's anything urgent. And almost every single time without fail, those 5 minutes would completely derail the entire hour. My mind, which I had so carefully tried to prime for deep work, was no longer my own. It was instantly hijacked by the demands, concerns, and agendas of others. That's when I realized something truly terrifying. You don't typically lose your precious hour in the middle of it. You lose it in those critical 5 or 10 minutes before it even officially starts. That was another game-changing revelation. Now I had the habit, I had the clarity from my pre-hour question, I had the mental preparation, but I was still missing one critical component: robust protection. Because the world, with all its demands and distractions, simply does not care about your sacred hour. Kids wake up early with needs, clients call with unexpected emergencies. Your own brain starts whispering insidious little suggestions like, "You're tired, you should just skip today, you can catch up later." And that's precisely where most people's best intentions falter and fall apart. But I found a system, a multi-layered defense, that finally stopped that leakage. The big truth that most people fail to grasp is this: it's not actually that hard to build momentum. What's incredibly hard is to protect that momentum once you have it. And that's where the real battle is won or lost. So let's talk about what truly kills the 1-hour rule. It's rarely outright laziness, and often not even a lack of discipline in the traditional sense. It's leakage, that slow, almost invisible drain on your willpower, your focus, your mental energy, that happens before you even sit down to do the work. I can show you exactly how I fixed that, and it starts with admitting a hard truth. I remember one morning at Tesla, back when we were desperately behind on production. I walked into my office, shut the door with determination, opened my laptop, and the very first thing I did, almost on autopilot, was check my email. 10 new messages. 5 of them were immediate fires. A critical supplier had missed their delivery, a sensor was glitching on the line, a major customer escalation had just landed, and just like that, poof, my intended hour of deep strategic work was gone before it even had a chance to begin. I realized then, with painful clarity, that time blocks and good intentions are utterly useless if you don't guard them as if your most important goals depend on it. Because they do. So I built a system, a 3-layer protection strategy that finally made that hour truly untouchable. Layer 1, the consistent trigger. Every single morning, I use the exact same trigger to initiate this time. Same time of day, same chair, even the same type of pen if I'm writing. It's like training your brain through classical conditioning. This specific set of cues means this is thinking time, deep work time. Think of it as your personal launch sequence. You don't vary it, you don't question it, you just execute it and go. Layer 2, I ruthlessly removed physical and digital barriers to focus. When I sit down for that hour, there is ideally only one object or one clear task in front of me that represents the mission for that hour. If your brain sees a cluttered desk or a screen full of notifications, it feels chaos and its attention scatters. So, I gave it simplicity. You have to make your environment beg for focus. Layer 3, and this one changed everything. I explicitly protected my boundary. I communicated clearly to my team and to anyone else who might need to know that this specific hour every day is non-negotiable. It is not to be interrupted under almost any circumstance. And you know what happened? They respected it. Because when you truly respect your hour, When you treat it as sacrosanct, others will learn to respect it too. Ultimately, the goal of the 1-hour rule isn't just about boosting productivity or squeezing more tasks into your day. It's about something far more profound. It's about fundamentally rewiring your identity. For years, I operated under the pervasive belief that I had to be available all the time, that success meant being hyper-responsive, that every crisis, big or small, needed my immediate personal attention. But once I started consistently protecting that single hour, just 1 hour of genuinely undistracted thinking every morning, everything began to shift. Before the 1-hour rule, I was constantly reacting, caught in a relentless cycle. It felt like I was always busy, always engaged, but I never truly felt in control. That dedicated hour gave me back my agency. During that precious time, I wasn't just reacting to the world. I was actively designing solutions to complex problems, designing the strategic direction for my companies, and in a very real sense, designing the life I wanted to lead. And here's the most important thing. This isn't about trying to be someone else, or needing to build rockets or revolutionary cars to make it work. This principle works because it clarifies your unique signal amidst all the noise. When you consistently give your mind one protected, undisturbed hour to focus on what truly matters to you, your mind starts serving you with its best insights, instead of you being enslaved by its scattered whims and the endless demands of the outside world. Let me put it in even simpler terms. Your brain often wakes up in a bit of a fog, operating on its default mode network, prone to wandering. But when you engage in deep, focused work with no distractions, you activate your prefrontal cortex, the command center of your brain. You stop drifting aimlessly, and you start consciously deciding, directing your mental resources with intention. And when you repeat this practice every single day, you're not just completing tasks, you're training your identity. That shift in identity inevitably changes your decisions, which in turn changes your outcomes, which ultimately changes the entire trajectory of your life. For me, the 1-hour rule helped me reconnect with my core purpose, with my kids, with myself on a deeper level. And I'll say this with absolute conviction. It is never, ever too late to start. I don't care if you're 18 or 80. If you've got a mind that can think and you can carve out just 1 hour, you have more than enough to begin making a profound difference. Because this journey isn't about doing more. It's about deciding who you want to become when you intentionally do less, but with far greater focus and intention. That clarity, that sense of agency, that's the real reward, and I genuinely want you to experience that. If there's one line I want you to etch into your mind from all of this, it's this. 1 hour a day can rebuild your life if you protect it like it truly matters, because it does. That single hour consistently honored is often the decisive difference between living your life on autopilot, swept along by currents, or consciously engineering the future you desire. I know this world constantly pulls at you, vying for every sliver of your attention. But just imagine this for a second. What if the one thing you're truly missing isn't more time, but one truly sacred hour where you feel completely alive, fully engaged, and deeply connected to your most important work? No one is going to just hand that to you. You have to build the wall around it yourself. So here's what I challenge you to do. Starting tomorrow morning, before you pick up your phone, before you open your inbox, before the world's demands come crashing in, take 1 hour. Just one. No distractions. Just you. Use it to think, to write, to design, to solve, to plan, to create. Reclaim the controls. And after you've done this consistently for 7 days,